Good evening. Thank you for joining us. This evening is July 15th for the Village Board regular meeting. This meeting is now called to order. We'll begin with the pledge.
Allegiance, flag, United States of America, Republic, nation, God, liberty, and justice for all.
Trustee Durayo?
Present.
Trustee Herrera?
Present.
Trustee Codman?
Present.
And Mayor, excuse me, Garrity.
Present.
Okay, this evening we have a public hearing in the matter of local law number 2, 2015, Spring Street two-way. Zambrano, would you like to make some?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. One of the things, again, that we had discussed is the board has had this public hearing open for several weeks now, and this is in reference to the two-way project on Spring Street. At the last work session last week, we had brought this up to the board, so this way, one of the things that we had requested that the board will consider closing the public hearing because we're at the stage where we are ready to go forward with the project. All the comments that have been submitted for the project have been included for the record, and so we are hoping to be able to go forward and have the board close the public hearing since the design is not something that's legislated, so we feel that we are at a point where we should be able to do so.
Is there anyone on the board that would like to comment?
Yes.
Go ahead, Trustee Codman. That's fine.
Yeah, I had requested that we wait another legislative session just to make sure that we had discussed it. I would. Can you hear me, or am I talking? Should I talk louder, or? Okay. Is that better? Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, I would move that we close the public hearing.
I second that.
Okay, I'll allow Trustee Casada to get to a seat, and then any on the board comments? Oh. I called you out. Sorry.
Sorry.
Herrera.
Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to assure the public that at this point, we're just closing the public hearing so we could bring all the public input and suggestions that we got and see how that's going to be impacting the future and permanent changes of this project in two-way. So we're not done yet, just this particular portion of the processes.
Mm-hmm. Any further comment from the board? We're discussing the Spring Street two-way.
Street. Yeah, no, I just want to kind of echo on that one. There's going to be at least one more or two more work sessions that are going to be discussing on this. As soon as the engineering part gets together with also and where they come and all the integration of this, so there's going to be another opportunity to get a little more public input on this. So.
Did you want to comment, Trustee Durayo?
No, I wanted to move to be close the public hearing.
I think we do have a motion, and it's been seconded. Mm-hmm. Let me just, I'll say thank you very much. We have gotten a lot of input from the public, both by phone, in person, and by email, and all of those comments have been documented and will be brought to the consideration of the engineers, and also the engineers are going to be coming, the consultants that we've hired to do the first two phases are going to be coming back to us and and we'll be reviewing where we are and discussing the engineering design going forward. So we are very pleased by the input and engagement in the public on this. So, Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed.
All right.
We'll move on to mayor's and trustees' announcements.
Yes. There are so many exciting things in our calendar, and I know we all have something to contribute, so I will do my weekly pitch to let everybody know. This is actually the week of the Ossining Documentary and Discussion Series July offering called Alive Inside. And this is a film that will appeal to anyone who recognizes the power of music, anyone who has ever had a family member or someone that you know deal with dementia or Alzheimer's, and it should be, despite the fact that you're talking about folks who may be in very challenging positions, particularly family members who are caring for folks with dementia or Alzheimer's, my understanding that this is an incredibly uplifting film. So I hope you will join us this Thursday, July 16th at the Ossining Public Library, 6:30 at the Bedars Theater, and always it is free. The seating begins at 6:15, and following the film we will have a question and answer discussion period with 4 panelists from varying perspectives and insights. So please do join us for that. Trustee Herrera.
Yes, thank you. So tomorrow, Assemblywoman Sandy Galiff will be having her senior forum, and it's going to be a great opportunity to get a lot of resources and information, and that's going to be held at the Cortland Town Hall, 1 Heady Street, Cortland Manor, and there's also going to be a special appearance by Lieutenant Governor Hochul of the state of New York. I encourage you to stop by. And the other announcement I had, let me just pull it up, is, as you know, the St. Augustine's annual Italian feast will begin on Tuesday, the 21st, and it will go on until Sunday the 26th. Fireworks are scheduled for next Wednesday at, I believe, around 9 o'clock. And that is all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Trustee DeRayo.
Yeah. Well, coming up on Saturday, August 1st, down at Chattahoochee Yacht Club, which is right next to the lovely Boathouse Restaurant on Westerly Road, is the annual plein air art event. It's very cool. What happens is get about 3 dozen artists who come down at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they sculpt and they paint and they do photography and they do all their art till about 2. Then from 2 to 4, they go and they get them framed and create the presentation. And then from 4 to 6, there's an art show on the porch. Little wine and cheese. It's very nice. And then at 6 o'clock, we do an auction, and the proceeds are split between the artists, and the remainder goes to fund the children's sailing program at Chattahoochee. And it's a wonderful event. It's my 3rd time being the auctioneer. It's great fun because, well, most of you know me. You never know what I'm going to say. And it's worth coming just for that, I'm told. So come down Saturday, August 1st. You can watch the art being made all day, and at 6 o'clock there's the auction.
Trustee Cadman.
Wanted to remind everybody that the Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy will be hosting another a gravestone cleaning up at Dale Cemetery. That's 104 Havel Street, and go to their website, be able to find out the exact location within Dale Cemetery, but it should be fine. It's really great to clean these gravestones. A lot of them historical in nature, and a lot of information comes off the gravestones once they're cleaned. So if you want to help out, it's a great chance to a community event to help clean the gravestones at the cemetery. So that's Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, this Saturday at Dale Cemetery.
You don't want to do
anything.
it? Oh, man. Okay, I thought we were going to do the full.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, Trustee Herrera.
I had one more. It's more of a thank you. So this past Saturday, a group of about, I would say, 20 Ossining residents and groups met at the PAL Beach at the Lewis Engel Waterfront Park. And thanks to our personnel from the town and village and our residents, we pulled a lot of weeds, and the beach looks in pretty good shape. So special thanks to the Ossining Town Board for coordinating, and we look forward to partnering with in other projects in the future.
Captain, when you do your announcements, will you comment on the August 2nd event? The August 2nd event? The ladies kayaking? Okay. Sorry.
We'll move on to administrative reports.
Thank you,
We'll
Madam
begin
Clerk.
with Village Manager Abraham Zambrano.
Thank you. Just for the board, actually, there's some items on tonight's agenda that I would like to just bring to your attention. There, item C, the resolution is the license agreement with the property owner of 55 Bellevue. This is an item that was discussed at last week's work session, and it pretty much involves the installation and the rehabilitation of a driveway, pathway, and stairs, and related maintenance that needs to be done. And in order for them to be able to do the work, the village board needs to grant them a license agreement. Also then, item D, which is the adoption of local law number 3 of 2015, is the implementation of the complete streets policy, which has been discussed by the board in the past. And item E is actually the adoption of introductory law number 4, which will become local law number 5 of 2015. And this is to correct some inconsistencies and errors that provide clarifications related to the code enforcement. Additionally, also then resolutions or items G and H, these are two grant applications that we want to submit for a grant to fund traffic calming on Route 9, which is item G, and resolution 8 or item H is actually grant application to work on the Broadway Bridge. So those are items for your consideration. In addition to that, what I want to mention also is the fact that we met with Con Edison earlier this week, and they're going to be starting work on the storm hardening efforts within the village within the next few weeks. The project will entail replacing some existing wires and poles, as well as replacing fuse boxes in order to isolate outages if we ever have any additional storms. When the time comes, we will notify residents. We've already put something on the website notifying the residents that this work is coming. But as the time nears, we will put out further notifications. Also, we held the kickoff meeting with the LED lighting consultant that the village hired, and work will start sometime in mid-August. Also, one of the contractors will be around the village taking inventory of all the fixtures. And again, stay tuned. More information will be coming as time nears. I want to thank the Recreation and Parks crew for adding flower beds in the areas where village signs are throughout the village. I think they're doing a great job, and I think it adds a lot to the village's character. Today also we held a meeting with GDC in reference to Harbor Square. We have actually invited them to come to the work session of August 12th to give the board an update on what's going on there, and also for you to approve part of the work that needs to be approved by the village board. The last thing I wanted to mention is I'm going to be going on vacation beginning tomorrow. Christina Papes will be reachable via phone or email if you need anything that requires immediate attention. But I will have access to email, text, and phone also. So that's it. Thank you.
I hope you occasionally do not answer your email, text, or phone and enjoy your vacation.
We'll move on to Captain Scott Craven.
Good evening. Chief just wanted me to mention a couple things, including the fact that our 5 officers are just recently graduated from the police academy. In addition to graduating, they attended a 40-hour class the next week for speed enforcement and laser. Currently, all 5 are in our field training officers program and are all doing fantastic. They'll be out there. They're out working tonight.
Excellent.
August 2nd?
Yes.
August 2nd, I believe they're going to be hosting a women's paddling event down at Chatham fundraiser. They've already done one down there with tremendous success. For those of you who don't know, Ossining is a world-class paddling venue, historically, environmentally. Get an opportunity to paddle here, it's great. And if the women want to Chatham-Uck's website, they can get information about it or speak to Officer Farrell or Detective Walker, help them as well.
Because it is a fundraiser for
There, I
the
believe.
DARE program, correct? Good.
Women's only paddle. It's going to be fantastic. I'm bummed I'm not invited.
I'm sure they could find room for you.
All right, if I may, just to piggyback on what the PBA and actually what the Austin Police Department kind of does, and I'm sorry I wasn't ready, I just want to get the information until now, but in Nelson Park, July 17 at 9 p.m., the PBA is organizing Movie with a Cop again, just like they did last summer. I think it's a great event, and this time it's going to be Soundlot movie, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you for Officer Drew for putting all this thing together. So thank you. Let them know.
Right.
I want to go backwards a little bit. Our village manager has some additional.
Yes, I forgot to remind everybody that next week's work session, July 22nd, will be held in this location. So we have relocated it from 16 Croton Avenue to 8688 Spring Street. So
Correct.
that's
Thank
it.
you for
Thanks.
noting that.
We'll move on to Fire Chief Matthew Scarduzio.
Thank you and good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Chief.
To date, the fire department has responded to 351 calls with no major incidents, but prior to our OEM meeting, we were called out for a rope rescue down at 81 Charter Circle. A lady went down a ravine. Trustee Bob Durayo was there with us. It was a success. Lady's going to be fine. I want to thank all the members of the board and everybody else in the room who attended our annual inspection. A little rainy, but it all worked out. It was a good success. So thank you very much for that. Just a reminder to everybody and the public, the Ossining Fire Department's parade is fast approaching. It will be held August 7th, which is a Friday evening, with a 7 o'clock step-off. Also, the fire department will be doing a standby for the St. Augustine's fireworks next Wednesday evening, 22nd. And also, I just want to congratulate 7 of my members publicly who just completed the Firefighter 1 class and will be graduating tomorrow evening. They just completed 104 hours of training, become certified interior members. Thank you.
Village Engineer Paul Frioli.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees.
Good evening.
Thank you for closing that public hearing for Spring Street 2A. The next stage of that project, which I believe Trustee Herrera referenced, is going to be some of the preliminary and conceptual design ideas being developed by the consultant engineer. They've already completed the field and utility survey work, which was the first component of the purchase order that was created for that project. I think within a few weeks we'll look to probably get on a work session agenda and bring in some of the design components that came out of the public hearing process. The main one being some potential additional crosswalks along some of the corridors there, be incorporated into the project. So that's forthcoming, and we'll be back in front of you to go over that. Some of the things that have either recently restarted or will be starting before the next time I'm in front of the board is some of the work in the Kilbrook. We're starting to work on the interface with that sanitary sewer cover / river walk at the Central Avenue area, and we've also completed the design and have ordered the structural steel component to where that river walk comes up out of the river and melds into the recreation parking lot next to the Caputo Center. So that work's ongoing and should be well underway by the time I'm in front of you again next. One of the things that came out of that project, which I'm appreciative of Valerie helping coordinate the grant proposal, is Resolution H tonight. So when we get to that, thank you in advance. That's a project along the Broadway Bridge, which is really has by default become like a collateral project for next year, and hopefully we get that grant money, and that would be a nice thing to parlay from the Kilbrook into the reconstruction and rehabilitation of that bridge. The paving that I discussed last month, which with our capital highway improvement dollars from the state, that was going to include Iroquois and Pine, still is going to include those 2 roads. However, Con Ed came in recently and told us via email that they plan on doing a major gas main replacement project on Pine Avenue. We've already discussed some details with them, and I am hopefully going to meet with their engineering team sometime in the next couple of weeks to discuss the details, but the Pine Avenue and Pinebrook Court paving component is going to be on hold. A silver lining that I'll pull out of that is that some of the sanitary sewer work that we were going to do where Pine interfaces with Dale, we'll probably try to do that concurrent with Con Ed's work, and this way we'll have everything done. And when I thought I was going to stop at Sherwood, we might go all the way to Dale now with the paving of Pine. So hopefully we'll get that stuff done too at the same time. To append the manager's comments with regard to Harbor Square, as I think you know, Valerie and Al and I meet with the Harbor Square representatives formally at least once a month and informally on an ongoing basis. Some of the things that you may see again before I'm in front of you next that may commence in the field is some of the work they're going to start on the water main work. Andy Teese and I are going to meet with their engineers and potential contractors early next week to discuss the details of that 12-inch water main improvement project that they're doing on Snowden as part of their site plan approval. Once we have that meeting, they led us to believe today that they're going to exercise a contract with a subcontractor and start that work as early as within a month, including the ordering and utility mark out and so forth to get that project underway. That is on Snowden, and as you know, there's also significant work that's being undertaken by the County of Westchester on Snowden. The preliminary work, which the county has been waiting for, is nearly complete by Con Edison. So if you see all the digging up all around the Snowden Park, Broadway area around Croton Home Center, that's Con Edison doing their utility removal and relocation work that needed to be done in advance of the county letting their project. They have told us that the legislator has funded that project, and I believe they're going to be letting that project on the street within the next couple of months. So that project should also be done probably just after the water main work, hopefully, and that will bode well with Snowden Avenue being restored once and for all, once that utility work is done. We even have some drainage work that we need to do on that road. So I think within the next couple of years, Harbor Square will be done, the utility work will be done, and Snowden Avenue will be completed.
Can I just clarify my understanding when you're referring to the county work being done at Snowden? Is that the displacement of the... They're going to be moving the playground and then doing the work underneath and then replacing it, or...
Correct. There's one of two sanitary sewerage siphons that are in the village is operated and owned by the county at the bottom of Broadway where it interfaces with Water Street and Snowden interchange, and the county is removing that siphon, making all the sanitary sewage gravity flow. There's an ongoing, reoccurring sanitary sewer discharge and odor issue that we're happy to say the county is actually addressing now versus just remediating as a more of a reactionary measure.
I know that everyone in the community who spends time down there will be very pleased to have that work done.
Some of the other work that you could see Harbor Square doing as part of the site plan approval, at least on a DPW off-site component, is they've nearly completed all their utility tie-ins on Westerly for potable water, sanitary sewerage, and they're also hopefully working with us with MTA to create some additional parking that we hope to have there, probably with, I'm going to say, hopefully by year's end, to supplement some of the parking scenarios that were forced to happen due to the construction on that project. So you might see some work going on at the bottom of Central Avenue where it interfaces with Water Street as well, that they're undertaking on our behalf. In-house, right after the guys finished their spring pothole work, there was a crew out there with our rental vac haul unit. I'm sure you must have seen them. I'm happy to say this year that they're becoming pretty in tune to how to operate that machine, and they broke the 1,000 catch basin mark for the first time since we've been doing it as part of our MS4 program. They actually opened, cleaned, and vacuumed over 1,000 catch basins village-wide, which is a good thing for the receiving streams, which is primarily the Hudson via any of our drainage courses. Next month, and I'll make sure that it's after the 7th so it doesn't interfere with the fire department, our annual bid contractor will be in to do some concrete restoration work. The main brunt of that work is along Upper Croton, along the Bellevue and Linden corridor over there. It's mostly assessment work, but it is on the parade route, so we're going to try to push that off till after the 7th, and then we'll undertake that work, which is primarily curb and sidewalk work and then some ADA accessibility work.
Thank you.
In addition to in-house, I could tell you that the part-timers that we were afforded the ability to hire this year with some of the monies you gave us during the budget process are working out very nicely. And if you've noticed, the crosswalk, the stop bars, and all the parking lines that are almost done village-wide that have been painted, including where we started off in the downtown. They had some supervision by permanent employees, but that was primarily done by a crew of part-time workers. So that was nice. They were very productive crews this summer. So thank you for that. And lastly, again, to append the manager's comments, on Monday we had the village kickoff meeting in conjunction with the town of Ossining with the LED contractor, Lumen Light Solutions, who you've met numerous times in work sessions. It was a promising, productive kickoff meeting, which is going to start with inventory assessment for our lighting village-wide and town-wide, and then once those inventories are done, we're going to talk about ordering and installation as early as October 1st of this year. So that's promising, but I'll keep you updated as we go along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Water and Sewers, Andrew Teese.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. Our reservoir is currently at 93%. Last month we were at 94%. We're now purchasing 85% of our water from New York City. Last month we were purchasing 65%. So it's on track. It's a little better than last year. And the water quality itself on the raw water side is much better from New York City. So we save a little bit on chemicals and sludge production. The cement water relining project, the contract has been awarded to Fletcher Kramer Brothers. All required insurance and bonds have been submitted. Contract has been signed by all parties. A pre-construction meeting for the actual work is scheduled for Tuesday the 21st, and that same day notice proceed will be given. So that's the official start time of the contract. The generator installation at the Indian Brook Water Treatment Plant is 95% complete. The contractor is scheduled to install the new required transformer next week, the one that Con Ed provided for us, and it'll be a total shutdown at the filter plant. We'll run off the generator for 2 days and change everything over. The first of the 2 variable frequency drives at Havel Street Pump Station have been installed this week. The factory startup is scheduled tomorrow, so that's in the right direction. The emergency action plan for the Indian Brook Reservoir Dam has been recently revised and distributed to all appropriate document holders. This plan was required by the DEC and EPA. When we issue the contract award in the future, which will be next year, for the dam rehabilitation project, the qualified bidder, the contractor, will be brought into the EAP process along with practicing a hypothetical tabletop, so you could actually simulate an emergency so that if something did happen, everybody's prepared. It would be state officials, the police, the OEM group, and the contractor. Hazen and Soar environmental engineers will be meeting with the mayor and the board of trustees at the end of August to discuss the next step for the future water expansion at Indian Brook in a work session. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Treasurer Thomas Warren.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Board of Trustees.
Good evening.
With the mid-year point here, I have this reminder for the payment and collection of village property taxes. The second installment of the 2015 village property taxes is due by July 31st without penalty. Tax payments may be made in person at 16 Croton Avenue, second floor, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30, by mail or via the village's website. As the interest rate changes monthly and with tax liens having to be paid in reverse chronological order, the taxpayers are asked to call the Finance Department at 941-2581 to verify the amounts due. And since it's an unusual item and it's a large dollar item, I did want to comment on the voucher detail report this week. It includes a blanket purchase order of about $389,000. Usually we only do the blanket purchase orders in January, but this blanket purchase order will allow for the processing of workers' compensation claims for the balance of the 2015 year. And this is related to the claim voucher for the same amount to reimburse the general water and sewer funds for workers' compensation indemnity claims for prior year injuries, which were already recognized as fund liabilities in the Workers' Compensation Internal Service Benefits Fund as of the end of 2014. So as such, these payments are being charged to this Workers' Compensation Benefits Fund instead of to the 2015 General Water and Sewer Funds, which helps preserve the 2015 budget and fund balance. So that's a good thing. And it was recommended by our actuary that we do try to settle workers' compensation claims and pay them out rather than carrying the indemnity payments as long-term payouts over time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent of Parks and Recreations, Christopher Soy.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees.
Good evening.
Our summer day camp program began on Monday, June 29th. We are serving 428 campers between the ages of 3 and 14 years of age in our 5-day camp programs. In addition to their regularly scheduled activities, our campers have already had numerous special events and performers at camp, such as Bird of Prey show, DJ dance parties, magicians, barbecues, etc. We are looking forward to a continued fun and safe camp season. Our Learn to Swim summer program began this past Saturday. All 16 sections of our lessons are running with 84 registered participants. That's almost 100% full. Actually, it's 96.5% of our enrollment capacity. Reminder that the pool is on our summer camp schedule. Due to camp use during the day, open swim hours are 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturdays, and 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. We encourage everyone to come on down, enjoy the pool, and if they haven't, get their open swim pass for the year. With our day camp program ending on Friday, August 7th, we will be offering additional programs over the course of the remaining weeks in August. We have our Summer Fun Week from August 10th through August 13th, Mad Science Camp from August 17th to August 21st, and our U.S. Sports Multi-Sports Camp from the 24th to the 28th. For our parks report, our parks crew continues to maintain all grounds and fields. Also, with most of our day camp program existing in our parks and the community center, the park staff have been playing a major role in supporting the camp programs and maintaining our campsites, especially as the safety requirements deemed by the Department of Health. Our Nelson Park basketball court lights are being turned on again on a regular basis. Right now we have the lights scheduled to be on Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. through Labor Day. Special events, our July 2nd fireworks were a success. We had music from Mike Risco Band prior to the fireworks and Road to Ruin post-fireworks. I would like to thank them for their performances. The fireworks show by Interstate Fireworks was a great show. I would like to thank Lieutenant Sylvester and the Ossining PD for their organization, management, and support throughout the event. The summer concert series kicked off last Friday with a performance by Powderfinger on a beautiful night by the river. The series continues at Lewis Angle Waterfront Park this Friday with Mark Berger. Concerts begin at 7 p.m. and you can get all your info at one of the places that at the Recreation Department page of the Village website at villageofossining.org. This Friday, July 17th, in addition to the concert, the Community Center will be hosting an anti-bullying presentation by Chloe Olivia, who is a young girl with a powerful personal anti-bullying message that she delivers through song. The presentation begins at 7 p.m., and that's at the Community Center. Also on Friday, as Trustee mentioned, we have a movie in the Ossining PD and PBA are doing Movie in the Park, and the movie will be Sandlot, and the show time is 9 p.m. The Ossining Elks will also be there cooking some hot dogs. Finally, we have an Ossining Summer Jam, which is a concert at the Waterfront Park on Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. There will be 4 bands comprised of local teens set to perform throughout the day. So come out and support the young musicians in our community. Thank you.
Chris, I just wanted to say there's some planting that Manager Zambrano mentioned at some of the places around the village, but I noticed when I was dropping my kids off, or 2 of your 400 and some odd campers, at the community center earlier this week, there's some more plantings going on at the community center, and I want to thank you very much for those details. They really make a difference.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. And also thank OPD has been making some regular trips, I see, to the camps. I know during the school year, your officers during the day are visiting the schools, and now during the summer they seem to be visiting the camps, so thank you very much for that attention. And I know my children were very happy to see their friends, Officer Shelley and Detective Walker.
Village Planner Valerie Menostra.
Good evening. My report will be a little brief this evening since a number of my items were sort of discussed by other department heads. So just to start off, we have 2 large projects on the planning board's agendas. First is Victoria Home. The applicant's proposing to reconstruct their facilities and create a facility for 120 beds. We are anticipating having the draft final environmental impact statement for the planning board this month, and then hopefully calling for a public hearing in August. 173 North Highland Avenue. The applicant's proposing to alter an existing 43,000 square feet of existing retail space and add 2 additional stories for a total of 44,000 square feet. In addition, and also construct a new gas station with 3,000 square foot snack shop. We are still waiting on legal agreements to be made between the 2 property owners regarding access easements, but we did have an internal meeting last week, technical review between the fire department, building department, our engineer, and the applicant's architect to start reviewing the site plan and start dealing with some of the technical issues that will need to be addressed. I also continue to work and conduct the necessary research with other prospective developers or property owners looking to develop in the village of Ossining. The Planning Board and Board of Architectural Review have reviewed 23 new applications so far this year. The ZBA has reviewed 18 new applications so far. The HPC has worked on 8 new applications this year and is continuing its work on the historic Steinage walking tour. The couple people from the HPC are reviewing the text for the signs one last time. We're looking to package the document shortly, and we're still working on 2 more license agreements. So it's getting there. The EAC reviewed 1 DEIS so far this year and 1 local waterfront revitalization plan consistency application in July. Also, the department's working on submitting 2 consolidated funding applications, which the village manager spoke about in his report, which is explained in resolutions G and H, which refers to those applications. And then finally, we held an interdepartmental meeting dealing with the municipal and train station parking lots with legal, police, the village manager's office, and the engineering department, and a presentation of the proposed changes and draft local law will be coming hopefully in August. The final draft local law is being reviewed internally amongst a number of the department heads. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director of Personnel, Linda McMahon.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees. Our customer service training, I'm happy to report, really went very well. It was held a few weeks ago in 2 half-day sessions, and all of our administrative staff who was deemed to have consistent customer contact was participating in the program. The training incorporated a lot of group participation in certain areas, and many of the areas were such as problem solving in a positive way, the effect our body language has on others, how to diffuse a situation, learn how to listen, not just hear. And one of the most important areas covered was communicating information in a way that was both meaningful and helpful after we find the information from the customers as to what their expectations are for resolving situations, just to name a few. The trainer was very engaging with the audience, and the feedback that I got from staff was definitely positive. Good. Training has slowed now until the fall, but we'll be commencing once again in September, starting with our workplace violence annual training, and followed by our customary confined space, as well as excavation and training. I promised to report on our customer service, and it really went very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to hear it.
I pinned to that the fact that this is going to be like a continuous training on customer service. And I know that Linda has done a great job finding this particular trainer. But again, we hope to be able to do this on a continuous basis also. So,
Terrific. Thank you.
thank you.
Director of Code Enforcement, Al Sirocco.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening.
I have the Building Department's activity report for the month of June. Let's pull this apart here. Okay. We had a total of 81 new complaints this month. Breakdown, 1 backflow. Infestation, we had 2. Construction site, we had 1. Construction without a building permit, 11. 7 garbage, illegal discharge, we had 2. 6 overcrowded living spaces, 22 property maintenance issues, 3 site plan violations, and 26 village ordinances. Also, let's see, we had a total complaints year to date. We have 385. New and old complaints that were closed this month, we had a total of 34. Year to date, 234 have been closed. Notice of violations, new this month, we had a total of 39 with 184 counts. The violations breakdown, 1 backflow, 2 construction without a building permit, 1 garbage, 1 illegal discharge, 3 overcrowded living spaces, 5 property maintenance issues, and 26 village ordinances. Notice of violations to date, we had 164 with 498 counts. Notice of violations closed this month, 11 with 31 counts, and year to date we had 83 with 161 counts. Court appearance tickets issued this month, 23 with 126 counts. Court appearance tickets breakdown, 1 backflow, 3 overcrowded living spaces, 2 property maintenance issues, and 17 village ordinances. Total court appearance tickets year to date, we had 78 with 344 counts. Court appearance tickets that were closed this month, we had 2. Appearance tickets closed year to date, we have 7. Court fines assessed this month was $900. Total to date is $10,400. We had 39 new building permits, fee totaling $13,348. Year to date, permits 159, fee totaling $56,558.50. Certificate of occupancies 20, year to date 131. Final cost fees $737, year to date $2,926. We had 15 plumbing permits, fee totaling $1,280, year to date 89 with $6,980. 26 electrical permits, fee totaling $4,089, year to date $123 and $16,201. We had 4 backflow applications that were received, fee totaling $400. Year to date, 20 applications, fee totaling $2,000. We had 2 tree permits, $120. Year to date, 19, fee totaling $1,270. Sign permits, we had 3, totaling $180. Year to date, 8, fee totaling $480. Pre-date inspections, 2 this month, total $625. Predates to date, 5, fee totaling $925. Searches, we did 32, fee totaling $3,225. Year to date, total 137 searches, fee totaling $14,140. Boils completed, we had 13. Year to date, total 143. Overnight parking, we had 94 inspections that were completed this month. 541 have been completed year to date. Section 8 inspections, we had 17. Year to date total is 100. Fire and assembly inspections, we had 11 this month. Year to date total 159. And building and plumbing inspections, 196 this month. To date, we have 1,253 inspections that we've completed. Plan reviews completed for building, plumbing, electrical, pre-date budget. Backflow, tree, and sign permits, we had 91 reviews. Plan reviews completed year to date, 423 reviews. Just a couple quick quick things. Smoke and carbon alarms. They are the law. They're retroactive from New York State Property Maintenance Code. Each home does need it. Please call the building department at 941-3199, and we'll be more than happy to help you, because it all depends on what type of residence you have on where the location may be. As far as anything else, I just want to reach out to the public. If there's anything that you need to discuss, anything with code enforcement, or if you have any questions about what would be required for building permits, please call. We'll be more than happy to help you. You can come and set up an appointment, or you can talk to us on the phone. Just call us at 941-3199. Thank you very much.
I just have one quick question. So I wanted to ask this last week, but I totally forgot. I meant last month. So when you say new complaints this month, 81, and then total complaints year to date, 385, and then total closed complaints year to date, 234. So does that mean that we still have 151 that are still open?
No, these are complaints that could be going on from the year before, from months before.
Okay.
I mean, that's why you'll see a difference.
Okay.
Because they're not all from 1 month. These sometimes complaints take months.
Yeah.
In some cases, years.
Years,
to say,
okay.
to close. But I'm just, so it's not all based. New complaints were just for that month, that came in that month. But the closed complaints they could be from any month.
Okay.
If that makes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got it.
Move on to organizational announcements. Is there anyone with an organizational announcement?
We discussed it. We announced an awful lot of things happening with organizations, so.
I have no questions from the audience on board resolution, so we'll move on to the adoption. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2015 regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby approves the voucher detail report dated July 15th, 2015, in the amount of $765,819.21. Do I have a
Moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby authorizes the village manager to enter into a license agreement with the property owner of 55 Bellevue concerning the installation and rehabilitation of a driveway, pathway, and stairs, and related maintenance on a portion of the village right-of-way adjacent to the property along Eastern Avenue. The terms of such agreement being subject to review and approval by the Corporation Council. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board? Madam Clerk?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining has been considering adoption of a proposed local law known as Introductory Local Law Number 3, 2015, entitled Code Revisions to Implement the Complete Streets Policy designed to facilitate safe access to public streets for all users, which would amend certain provisions of Chapters 229, 233, and 270 of the Village Code of the Village of Ossining in order to reference adoption and implementation of the Complete Streets Policy, and was pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act and corresponding regulations thereto. Any amendment to Chapter 270 zoning is an unlisted action. The Village Board as lead agency duly called for the preparation of a short environmental assessment form. And whereas in accordance with the applicable provisions of the Village Code, the Village Board referred the matter to the Ossining Planning Board, the Environmental Advisory Council, and on June 23rd, 2015, and July 7th, 2015, respectively, those entities provided a positive recommendation concerning the substance of the proposed local law. And whereas in accordance with general municipal law, the matter was referred to Westchester County for its review and comment, and thereafter a positive response was received. And whereas in accordance with the New York State law, and after having provided all requisite notice thereunder, the Board of Trustees conducted a public hearing on Introductory Local Law Number 3, 2014, on July 1st, 2015, at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, during which the public had the opportunity to be heard on such proposed local law, and whereas the matter was the topic of further discussion and deliberation at a public meeting on July 8th, 2015, following which the board determined that there was no impediments to proceeding with adoption of the local law as drafted. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with SEQA, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining has reviewed the proposed action, that term is defined therein, and hereby issues a negative declaration. And it is further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, in furtherance of the protection of the health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, the environment, and the community at large, hereby adopts introductory local law number 3, 2015 as local law number 4, 2015, with such adoption to take effect as set forth in said local law and as otherwise required by law. And be it further resolved that the village board directs said local law number 4, 2015 to be filed and or distributed in accordance with applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Well, I'll comment. I'm very pleased that we are moving forward with the Complete Streets Policy implementation. This is a policy that we began discussing back in, we finally got to pass earlier this year, the policy itself. And I thank the Corporation Counsel and Valerie and all the department heads who helped move this forward. And the Complete Streets Policy is that we have on a local level is reflective of the goals that have been established at the state level, which by putting this policy in place and actually making use of it, we're demonstrating to the state that we share their goals of having safer streets and having the roadways be more user-friendly for all of the users, whether they're in a car and a truck, or they're a pedestrian, or they're riding a bicycle, or they're handicapped, or they're pushing a stroller. And by sending that strong statement, it also puts us in a stronger position when we go to the state and say, hey, we need your help to try and affect some positive change for our community to make it a safer, more inviting community. So with that, Madam Clerk.
Roll call vote. Trustee DeRyle?
Aye.
Trustee Herrera?
Aye.
Trustee Codman?
Aye.
Trustee Quezada?
Aye.
And Mayor Garrity?
Aye.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining has been considering adoption of a proposed local law known as Introductory Local Law Number 4, 2014, entitled Code Revision 15, entitled Code Revisions to correct inconsistencies and errors and provide clarification related to building code enforcement, which would amend certain provisions of chapters 133, 162, 201, and 270 of the Village Code of the Village of Ossining, entitled respectively Fire Hazard Inspections, Housing Standards, Plumbing, and Zoning, and was pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act and corresponding regulations thereto. Any amendment to Chapter 270 zoning is an unlisted action, and the Village Board, as lead agency, duly called for the preparation of a short environmental access form, and whereas in accordance with applicable provisions of the Village Code, the Village Board referred the matter to the Ossining Planning Board and the Environmental Advisory Council, and on June 23, 2015 and July 7, 2015, respectively, these entities provided a positive recommendation concerning the substance of the proposed local law, and whereas in accordance with general municipal law, the matter was referred to the Westchester County first review and comment, and thereafter a positive response was received, and whereas in accordance with New York State law, and after having provided all requisite notice thereunder, the Board of Trustees conducted a public hearing on Introductory Local Law Number 3 on July 1st, 2015 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, during which the public had the opportunity to be heard on such proposed local law, and whereas the matter was the topic of further discussion and deliberation at a public meeting on July the 8th, 2015, following which the board determined that there was no impediments proceeding with adoption of the local law as drafted. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with SEQA, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining has reviewed the proposed action as that term is defined therein, and hereby issues a negative declaration. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby adopts Local Law 4, 2015 as Local Law Number 5, 2015, with such adoption to take effect as set forth in said local law and as otherwise required by law. And be it further resolved that the Village Board directs that Local Law Number 5, 2015 be filed and or distributed in accordance with the applicable law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. On the board.
This again is a roll call vote. Okay. Trustee DeRio.
Aye.
Trustee Herrera.
Aye.
Trustee Codman.
Aye.
Trustee Quezada.
Aye.
And Mayor Garrity.
Aye.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby declares the following vehicle as surplus equipment and authorizes its disposal in accordance with New York State law by sale or otherwise as is. 1990 Emergency 1 fire engine, Hurricane 1500 GPM 500 gallons, and the VIN number is 46JDBAA 85L1003386. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board?
Yeah, this,
Trustee, I was go ahead, Trustee DeRio.
I was going to say this engine served 25 years. It's been replaced by a new engine, and what will happen is this will be sold to some other municipality who will rehab it and put it back to work. It's not done yet with its life. It'll move on to somewhere else. And I thank the department for their service. Proud to be a member. And we have the best fire department in the state of New York.
Trustee Codman, would you like to comment
Yeah,
further?
I concur with Trustee DeRio.
Okay.
All
Madam
those
Clerk.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Whereas the village desires to apply for funding under the Consolidated Funding Application Empire State Development Strategic Planning and Feasibility Study Grant Program for the Village of Ossining Route 9 Corridor Study, and whereas the total project costs are $122,100, the village will be requesting 50% of the project cost to undertake engineer and design studies for the Route 9 Corridor Study, and the village will match 50% of the total project costs. And now therefore be resolved that Abraham Zambrano, village manager for the Village of Ossining, is hereby authorized and directed to file an application for funds from the Empire State Development Strategic Planning and Feasibility Study Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $61,050, with the village matching fixed $61,050 for the project cost, for a total project cost of $122,100. Be it further resolved that if such grant should be awarded, that the village manager for the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized to execute any agreements and engage in all financial and/or administrative processes relating to the implementation of the grant. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolved, the village desires to apply for funding under the Consolidated Funding Application Heritage Area Grant Program for the Village of Ossining Broadway Bridge rehabilitation. And whereas the total project costs are $1,255,080, the village will be requesting 40% of the project cost to engineer and construct the rehabilitation of the bridge, and the village will match 60% of the total project costs. And now therefore be resolved that Abraham Zambrano, village manager for the Village of Ossining, is hereby authorized and directed to file an application for funds from the Heritage Area Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $500,000, with the village matching $755,000 of the project costs, for a total project cost of $1,255,080. Be it further resolved that if such grant should be awarded, that the village manager for the Village of Ossining is hereby authorized to execute any agreements and engage in all financial and/or administrative processes relating to the implementation of the grant. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
On the board. Madam Clerk.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That completes your resolutions for this evening. Do you have any continuing business of the board?
We do not.
Okay. Do we have any new business of the board?
Not tonight.
Not seeing any visitors, might I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And we are going to adjourn to an executive session for a discussion of collective bargaining.
Of what?
Collective bargaining.
Oh, lucky us.
So, motion to adjourn to executive session
Yes,
for
so
collective
moved.
bargaining.
Second?
On the board? Madam
All
Clerk?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So thank you very much for joining us for another fascinating meeting from the Village Board. Next week, we will be right back here in this room for the work session. It's an unusual location for our work session, so please join us back at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court facility on Wednesday, August 22nd, and I hope you'll join us at many of the community events that we are all looking forward to as well. Good evening.